What is going on, guys? It is Dylan with Astrodfs bringing you our Call of Duty, or my Call of Duty lineup for June 19th, Friday of the Paris homestand. Man, last weekend was, I think, the best tournament we've had all year. Um, and undoubtedly, best online tournament we had. There were so many game fives, so many upsets, so many potential upsets. Um, we saw the Gorillas do something that I don't think anyone thought they would do. We saw a Florida team win with the debut of a new player, um, Awakening, and yeah, I don't know for this weekend. I feel like this weekend is going to be a little more balanced. You still have two of the top teams in Atlanta and Dallas here this weekend. Then you have Florida, who has two homestand wins now, competing, so they're a threat. New York is there. They've just been improving, it seems like, and having a little extra time in between the last time they played a homestand. Hopefully, New York looks really good this weekend, and they're playing Optic Gaming, and OGLA has been improving as well. So they've hit some semifinals, so I think it's going to be overall a good weekend. Uh, the London Royal Ravens are there too, and I mean, the only two teams I see this weekend that I'm just not looking forward to is Toronto and Paris. But yeah, let's get into stuff. So as far as roster changes right now, the only roster changes that you're gonna see is Toronto did officially take Classic out for Clean X. So Clean X will be in his first matchup for Toronto. I don't know why. I like. I just don't. Other than that, everybody's in with the same rosters. So I'm just gonna get my team out of the way, guys. And it's Florida for me at 2,400, saves 600 off of taking Atlanta. Now let's go over the matchups and some of the players that I'm looking forward to. For Paris, obviously Luka is just the number one player, but Denz is the AR, and in this game the ARs get the positive KD, which is what you want, and for the most part they get the majority of kills. That's majority. You can look at Denz's stats online and just Paris. Paris just isn't playing good. I'm not too high on Paris except for Luka. They need something. They need a big change in order for that roster or organization to start winning. So Luka and Denz are the only players that I would target in cash games this weekend for Paris. Granted, we've seen Paris have some upsets and play really good, like play teams really tough. And it can happen. I mean, it's online, it's Call of Duty, anything can happen. Just for cash games, though, I wouldn't target anybody but Luka and Denz, and still, even then, it's a question mark if I want to target them. We go and look at the Florida sign, and right off the bat, Awakening. You look at his price for last weekend, went up 1,400 from day one to day two, which, I mean, any person that gets over 100 fantasy points in Call of Duty, yeah. And then goes up 200 after getting 142. So he dropped a consistent over 100, and that's what you want. That's what you want from a player. He's 10,000 this weekend. He's still worth it. I mean, they're playing Paris. If Paris can somehow take a map off of Florida, which is going to be very hard in my opinion, Awakening is definitely someone you want to have on your team. A lot of Florida players are. Skies is the other guy that's on my watch list right now. He's the AR for the team. He's put up pretty consistent numbers. You look at the Game 4 and Game 5s that they've had against Chicago and Dallas, and he's put up over 100 fantasy points in those games. So that's what I look for in players, is how they play against some of the top teams, and they're playing Florida, who is now considered a top 4 team. Havoc, I mean, what he did last weekend, you look at his numbers, that's ridiculous. Again, playing against Chicago and Dallas, and he just put up big numbers. Do I think he's consistent on this? No. I think he did have a really good weekend, and it was nice to see someone like Havoc just go off like that. All of Florida played exceptionally well. Farrow, you're interested in him in search. He's one of the best search and destroy players in the league. But overall, I would not target it. We look at the London-Dallas matchup, and this one I think is probably one of the most interesting ones. And we'll just look at the prices. So Zero comes in as the most expensive player on London at 8,800. Been putting up over 100 fantasy points a game. Granted, it was just the one weekend, and I mean, he really improved that team. He did. With that, Dylan played better, Scraps played better. Weskin's been on a kind of shaky, like, look at his numbers, but just performance-wise, he's been pretty shaky lately ever since they went to online, so he's not a player that I am fully targeting in cash, but have interest in. 1 second. Sorry about that, guys. Cat was getting into stuff. Anyway, so yeah, Weskin is just online, just hasn't been performing. And Shawnee, I don't think I'm ever going to target. I just don't think he fits that team well. Dallas, Shotzi is over 10K. I mean, I'd put him at 11. Easy. I'd make him the most expensive player, and if you want to play someone that's going to have the best stats all weekend, each match, you got to make him way more than what he is right now. Hugh is right behind him. I mean, Hugh's been playing phenomenal lately. I mean, phenomenal. You look at just all the games they've had online, and he's only had one bad series against Chicago, and that's when Dallas as a whole just didn't play that good. Clayster is probably the one player that I'm targeting. The one player that I really like for Dallas for the price. He's 7,200. He's the AR for the team. Shotzi's going to control a lot. Hugh is going to do a lot, but Clayster is going to put up pretty decent numbers. For being 7,200, that's what you want. You want somebody that is going to get around the 90 fantasy points and possibly breaks 100. We go look at his recent game stats, and he's put up 100 against Minnesota, Seattle, and OGLA. Struggled against some of the topper teams in Florida, Atlanta, and Chicago. I put London in that mid-tier team range, and that's where he's just exceeded at. So depending on what maps they're playing, but 7,200 for someone like Clayster, I think is a really good price. New York, Mac Meltz is $2,000 more expensive than the next player. He's 9,400. One of the players that you kind of want to have in your lineup if you can get to him. The thing that I think is most interesting is Attach is only 7,400, and I put Attach and Clayster like 1 and 2 for players that I want to target in that 7K range, just because he's an AR player for 1. 2, they're playing Optic, which this series is one that I hope goes Game 5, just because not only fantasy point wise, but just of how the teams have been progressing. In it's going to determine how this weekend's going to go, in my opinion. You already know what Dallas and Atlanta's hopefully going to do. They should return to that form. Florida been really good online. But between New York and OGLA, we're really going to see where those two teams stand from this weekend. So, Attach at 7,400 I think is a really good price point to target this weekend. And then Zuma at 7,000. Zuma's been playing better. The whole team has been playing better since Mac Meltz entered. A couple teams just needed a roster change, and they've been playing really good. They just got to fix their search really bad, and against a team like Optic, who's been playing really well in search lately, That'll be interesting to see. And on Optic Gaming side, you look at Slasher, and it's hard to not have Slasher. Shotzi's $800 more, but Slasher's numbers are just so damn good. It's hard to not get him. I'm probably going to have so much exposure to him this weekend. It's going to be crazy. He's $1,000 more than Dashy. It seems like every time I pick Dashy, he underperforms, and then every time I don't, he plays like he should. It's been killing me, but it is what it is. Kenny and TJ, for Kenny's price, this is the only reason I would say that I would pick Kenny. If Kenny was in the 8K plus range, then I wouldn't even target him. But he's in the 7K range with Attach, which with Clayster, with Zuma, of players that I would target. But granted, I would target those players more. If this does go to Game 5, which, like I said, I hope it does, then he's going to get points at 7,600. It's a good price point. It really is. But, yeah, it's hard to get away from Slasher. And then we turn into the matchup, which I think is going to be yet again, said it last weekend, and FaZe almost got 3-0 swept by Atlanta, or by Seattle. And, yeah, I was way off. I mean, I think everyone was, but Atlanta's playing Toronto, and the crazy thing, and there's been no news of it, of why Classic is not playing, but I can't see Toronto winning a series without Classic. We saw what they did with little practice with Classic coming back. Methods had the worst weekend he's had all year, online or on LAN. Just terrible. I mean, killed me, but hey. Still had a pretty good weekend overall. At 7,800, I do think Methods has the potential to hit the 100 points. He's done it all year. He's their AR. He's going to get points. It's just with CleanX, you just don't know what they're going to do. And Atlanta, I think is going to come out and dominate. Put in a pretty good 3-0 or pretty convincing 3-1. I can't really see Toronto winning this series, and I really can't see them taking off a map. And then still, you could still target anybody on FaZe. I mean, anybody. Major Maniac had one of the best weekends he's had, and the only reason Atlanta played so bad is Priesta just had an off weekend. Priesta is one of the best players in the game right now, just has an off weekend, and FaZe can't win because of it. So any of them are worth targeting. You just gotta, for a Game 5, it's very unlikely. A Game 4 is still very unlikely. So you have to take that risk of hoping it goes Game 4, but I doubt it. Give me another second. I apologize about that. Anyway, so let's get back into it of a lineup that I would like to target. So we just go for flex players. Slasher's one. We'll get my captain out of the way, actually. It'll help us decide. And we're going to look, and we're going to put Attach up there. Helps us out a lot. And then we're going to find Clayster, and he just opens up salary. And then we get a player like Awakening, 9,700. And we get a player like Mac Melts. Now, the reason I have Clayster in is because he's that 7K range player. And other than that, I like the New York versus OGLA. That's one of the most confident matchups that I think is going to go Game 4 easy. New York could 3-0 him, but I doubt it's going to happen. Optics improved. And then we take Awakening because, I mean, we could take Shotzi easily. Shotzi's going to put up points. I believe he can. But I think Awakening just goes off in 3, maybe 4 games against against Paris, so that's why I would take him. And yeah, guys, you get 3 of the best players this weekend in Awakening, McMults, and Slasher. Granted, you can switch up a couple players, but this is a lineup I'm pretty confident in. So I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Yet again, trying to get them all out for each day. Help you guys out with your lineups if you're having any trouble. If you thought I was wrong about a player, or if you agreed with me, let me know in the comments down below. And we will see you tonight, hopefully, with the video for Saturday. So thank you guys for watching, and we will see you then.